Are you guys looking for a new Titan build that absolutely obliterates the playing field, killing hundreds of ads and creating a ton of orbs and basically having unlimited supers and putting up stat lines like this in any activity you play, no matter how hard the content is? This is the build you want to watch. For the subclass, we're going to be running Striker Titan with Fist of Havoc Super, which is a roaming super, and Bungie recently just buffed the roaming supers. The abilities, we're going to be running Thruster because it's the lowest amount cooldown, and we're going to be popping this as much as possible because we're going to be running Powerful Attraction because we're going to be making a lot of orbs to gather all of them up without running over them. Jump, doesn't matter, completely up to your choice. I prefer Straight Flipped. For the melee, Thunderclap because it's by far the best one in my opinion. Pulse Grenade, I prefer, but you could mix this build with any grenade. Pulse Grenade, it just, if you throw in a group of ads, it just keeps pulsating and destroying everything by it. And then with the aspects, we got Touch of Thunder as the first one, which creates Ionic Traces, which give you more ability energy. And with this, our Pulse Grenade creates more Ionic Traces, and periodically as it damages targets, it increases in damage over time. Super good. And then for a second one, we got Knockout, which makes us amplified. And then when we defeat a target with our melee ability or our melee while we're amplified, we get a portion of our health back. And depending on how hard the enemy is, we get more health back. And for the fragments, first one we got Spark of Haste, which is when we're running, we have more resilience, recovery, and mobility. Very good to have. And then Spark of Discharge, the second one, create that more traces to get more ability back. Super good. And then Spark of Resistance, which is just a huge damage resist when you're just in a group of enemies, which you're going to be punching a lot, which you're going to be up and close, so you want to keep punching to get more health back. While this is going, you have more damage resist. And Spark of Shock, your arc grenade jolts targets, which basically jolts the targets, and then when you shoot them while they're jolted, it does more damage, and it spreads chains of lightning to other people around it, and it's also good for stunning overload champions. Alright, for the weapons, in the kinetic slot, I prefer the Lost Signal because it debuffs the enemies, and it's a very good ad clearing arrow denial frame weapon. If you have auto-loading holster on it, that's perfect, just so you can shoot a giant group of enemies, then swap to your other weapon, and then it would already be reloaded. And then for our exotic, I prefer the Trespasser because the Unrepentant ability basically makes it shoot a lot faster and then kills reload the magazine, and then causes the next burst to be longer and more powerful, which absolutely shreds enemies, and it's also very good for creating orbs because it's a fast killing weapon. For heavy, it's usually whatever the player wants to use. Personally, I prefer the Edge Transit because it's a grenade launcher, and grenade launchers are super good this season, the buff, and I also have auto-loading bait switch, so I can do extra damage to bosses, along with going with ad clear weapons. Then for our armor, we're going to be running the Eternal Warrior Exotic Headpiece, which arc final blows grant an escalating damage bonus with arc weapons. You gain an overshield when activating Fist of Havoc, and gain the highest tier damage bonus to arc weapons when your Fist of Havoc ends, which is ×4. And for the mods on the helmet, we're going to be running Harmonic Siphon, which rapid arc weapon final blows create an overpower, along with Hands On, which you gain bonus super energy on melee kills, with Dynamo to reduce super cooldown when you pop your class ability near targets. On your gauntlets, you want Heavy-Handed. Your powered melee final blows create Orbs of Power, with Momentum Transfer, which causing damage with your grenade reduces your melee cooldown because you want your melee constantly up, because with your melee you can heal and you create more Orbs of Power for yourself. Focusing Strike grants class ability energy when you cause damage with your powered melee attack, which you want the thrusters up at all times. And then with your chest piece, it doesn't matter what resistance you run, it depends on what encounter or activity you're doing. But Font of Endurance I personally like because you gain bonus resilience when you have an armor charge, but it decays over time, which is very good because Arc doesn't have any healing of its own besides our punching, which is good to have that extra tankiness. In our boots, we're going to add Invigoration, which reduces melee cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. In Orbs of Restoration, picking up an Orb of Power grants a small amount of energy to your ability with the least energy, which is good because we want all of our abilities to be charged or close to fully charged, so we can just keep using them over and over again. Along with recuperation, which heals you every time you pick up an overpower, because we want to be constantly healing ourselves by creating a ton of orbs. On our class item, we want powerful attraction, which automatically collects nearby orbs when you activate your class ability, which pairs along with a Reaper, which shortly after using your class ability, your next weapon final blows spawn orbs of power, which is super good because picking up orbs of power heals you with recuperation. And then our last one is outreach, which reduces melee cooldown when using your class ability. And for the clips of the expert onslaught I went to, I just want to showcase the build and how fast I get the super starting. First clip, I start basically from 0. And when just couple seconds just pass by, I'm already at half. And I'm gonna pop the lost signal, which just constant tick damage because you don't need to get kills for the super. All you gotta do is just hit people. Get a couple more hits in there, and I immediately just have my super back immediately, even though I kind of just wasted it because I thought those would be more ads. And for this, I'm showing the weapon right here. I popped the exotic perk, and it just absolutely shreds through any ad you pop by. And then right here, I have half my super. You know, pop the lost signal, get a couple kills, hit a couple guys, and immediately have my super. And then pop it, and then I already have 3 orbs before I pop my super. And then while getting it, each super I make around 7 to 10 orbs per super, which is fairly good, so I can keep creating supers for my team and having the armor charge. So you want to keep having the armor charge up the whole time, just have that more survivability. And with our exotic we have currently equipped, Eternal Warrior, we have an overshield, so basically we can tank anything. And then also this build comes in with built-in unstop super, and then you can just immediately just shred unstoppable champions like this. And then for this final clip we have going on, it's basically just showcasing like the final end of the boss fight. Because this build is huge on the ad clear part, and it also doesn't, you know, sacrifice the damage from our weapons. And it just shows how fast we get the super back without, like, killing a bunch of stuff, even though we are doing huge amounts of ad clear with our super alone. Easy pop, create a bunch of orbs for our teammates, clear out tons of ads. And then our team finally manages to get the job done, and this build just wipes out all the ads and does huge amounts of orb creation for your team and yourself. And this is the stats I ended up with: 1,000 kills, 374 orbs created, which is not that bad. And overall, this build is fun along with viable, because the viable part comes from the orb creation and the amount of ad clear and area control you can do with the amount of supers you can cast, along with the amount of orbs to help your teammates out with their builds and their supers. And if you have any recommendations or swaps you did for your build, comment down below so I can check them out and to help other people that also watch this video. And if you want to see anything else on different classes or same class, just type it down in the comments below, and thank you guys so much for watching.